They shook hands, Year 2, Chapter 1, Part 2. He had nothing else in the world. The wizard stepped aside, and Harry escaped out into the night. Back in the house, he could hear Uncle Vernon blustering and protesting. Quite clearly, Harry's rescuer told the red-faced man, "Do not threaten me, Muggle." The door slammed, and the unknown wizard was lifting one handle of Harry's heavy trunk. Harry said nothing. He didn't know who this wizard was or where he was being taken, but it would certainly be better than number 4 Private Drive. As they turned the corner, his unexpected savior chuckled. "Cat got your tongue, Harry?" The voice is still hollow, but now Harry could hear the tones of amusement and a barely concealed laughter. Harry turned his brain. There was only one person who the wizard could be. "Elon?" he asked testily. The wizard threw back his hood and removed his white mask to reveal the smiling face of Elon Octavio Malfoy, none other. "Hello, Harry," came a voice from the hedge. "Draco?" Harry said in astonishment. "What are you doing here?" "Hello, Harry," came a voice from the hedge. "Draco," Harry said in astonishment. "What are you doing here?" The blonde-haired boy with a pointed chin stepped onto the walk. He too was wearing a hooded robe. "Rescuing you, of course," was his friend's cheeky answer. "Unless you'd rather stay." Harry shook his head emphatically. "Absolutely not," he exclaimed. He extended his hand, and Draco shook it firmly. "It's absolutely smashing to see you again, Draco. Your timing is perfect. How are we getting out of here?" "On broom, naturally," Elon replied, taking his broom from his younger brother. Harry opened his trunk and retrieved his prized Nimbus 2000. Elon was fiddling with something he had taken from his pocket. He tapped Harry's trunk with it, and to Harry's amazement, it began to shrink. When it reached the size of a bar of chocolate, Elon picked it up and put it in his pocket. "Ready to go?" he asked. "More than ready," Harry agreed. They kicked off into the night sky. No one saw the pair of eyes appearing out through the dirty window of the house with the cracked and peeling panes. The flight to Wiltshire passed without incident. The moon was hidden behind the clouds, and the three boys likewise hid above the cloud cover. The night air was chilly, and Harry wished he had dressed it more warmly. When they sat down on the grassy courtyard, Harry was shivering violently. Elon had produced his strange device again and restored Harry's trunk. Harry dug into his belongings feverishly, pulling out his heavy cloak. Wrapping it tightly around his shoulders, he yearned to draw his wand and cast the self-warming charm that Professor Snape taught to all of his first-year Slytherins. "Leave the trunk," Elon said, as Harry went to grab the handle. "House elves will take care of it." "What's a house elf?" Harry inquired. "Servants," Draco answered. "They exist to serve the wizarding families. They cook, clean, and carry. Do they earn a good living?" Harry asked. He knew what it was like to have to cook, clean, and carry for a family. Draco laughed. "You gotta stop thinking like a muggle," he said. "Elves are creatures of magic. Their whole reason for being is to serve. It makes them tremendously happy." Harry had his doubts. "You sure?" "Positive," Elon said. "It breaks their little hearts when they can't do anything for you. Some of them will get tears in their eyes." The flight had only lasted an hour, and Harry was wide awake despite it being close to half 10 o'clock. His eyes were brighter, so he took in all the sights. Out in the gym at the courtyard, he could see the outline of statues and trees. The patient adjoining the courtyard was home to a burbling fountain, shaped like some giant snake. "Leviathan," Elon told him, nothing is noting his interest, "a sea serpent or water dragon. According to the Bible, it's a creature of chaos, and later becomes a symbol of evil which will be destroyed on Judgment Day." "It's beautiful," Harry said, half mesmerized. "Of course the Bible's all wrong," Draco said. "It's hardly a myth. The Leviathan was a very large beast, ruthless and fearless, that ruled over all the creatures of the sea. Its skin was like a double coat of mail, with huge overlapping scales all over its body. Swords and harpoons simply bounced off. It could breathe fire and had hundreds of teeth in its mouth. The fins could also radiate a brilliant sight." "You talk about it like it's extinct," Harry noted, still staring at the intricate statue. "They are," Elon said. "The last Leviathan died in the year 77 Anno Domini." That made Harry feel very sad for some reason. He was quiet as Elon picked up a lantern and led the way through the large double doors into a grand hallway. Portraits of witches and wizards decorated the halls. The walls, though not nearly as many as at Hogwarts. Harry saw pointed chins, pale complexions, gray eyes, and silver blonde hair on many of the people. These could be only the ancestors of the Malfoy clan. Other corridors branched off from the main hall, but Elon paid them no mind, heading up the polished wooden staircase in the foyer. At the top, he halted and gestured for Harry to look down. What he saw took his breath away. The floor of the foyer had been done in a very tasteful grade marble. In the center, crafted in a manner Harry couldn't even begin to speculate on, was the Malfoy family crest. The shield was done in black and green, the silver letter M in the center. Black dragon-looking serpents flanked the shield and had green snakes twined around the shafts of 3 spears that emerged behind. The words of Malfoy stood out in seeming sharp relief. "Sanctimonia Vincent Semper." As Draco opened the first door on the left, he turned and grasped Harry's hand. "I'll show you all around the manor tomorrow," he promised. "Good night, Draco," Harry replied, "and thanks." Draco grinned at him. "It was smashing good fun. Good night, Draco. Good night, Elon." Harry followed Elon a few doors down the hall. That's the master bedroom, Elon said in a low voice, pointing to the door at the end of the corridor. Not to worry, they went to bed early. This, he said, opening the door, is my room. It was a modest room, at least in terms of what Harry had seen of the Malfoy of the manor so far. A fire was burning cheerfully in the fireplace. A telescope rested on a tripod out of the balcony, a much nicer telescope than Harry's poor brass one. A walk-in closet took up half of one wall. The rest of the wall space could be divided equally between tapestries, bookshelves, and Quidditch posters of the Allaby Arrows. One poster was not Quidditch related. He reached a very pretty young witch, not wearing very many clothes. Harry felt his ears burning and quickly looked away. Elon's desk was neat and tidy. There was a very nice writing set with 2 raven feather quills, a device that looked almost but not quite like a Muggle radio, and a picture of Tracy Davis's older sister Jamie. Nice room, Harry said. Elon chuckled. It's cozy, he said deprecatingly. He got Harry a bit further down the hall. This is the guest room, one of them anyway, he said wryly. You should be quite comfortable here. He opened the door and placed his hand on a metal bump on the wall. The candles in the room burst into flame. Harry's trunk was already sitting at the foot of the grand bed. He looked around the room and saw bookshelves built into the walls. Candle brought was spaced regularly between the shelves. No portraits hung there, for which Harry was thankful. Having strange paintings watching would keep him awake all night. It's very nice, he said sincerely. Elon nodded. We'll see you in the morning. The candles will put themselves out if you just touch the metal circle on the bedside table there. Thank you, Elon. Good night. Good night, Harry. Elon closed the door behind him and Harry was alone. He took a few moments to admire the splendor of the room before he began pulling off the oversized shirt he was wearing. He had worn Dudley's cast-off offs back at Private Drive because he didn't care to have the Dursleys know how well off he was. He chucked them in the corner remnantly. First thing in the morning, he made sure to burn every scrap of it. He quickly pulled the green cotton pajamas that had been a Christmas gift from the Davises and the Bulstrodes, along with a dozen other boxes of clothes. He slid between the cool sheets and laid his head down on the pillow. Lazing his fingers together behind his bed, he stared at the patterns of the shadow on the ceiling. Placing his fingers together behind his head, he stared up at the patterns of the shadow on the ceiling. What a strange date he reflected. Maybe the weird twist of fate that had brought him to Malfoy Manor had led some weight to the idea that someone was watching over him. Wondering what new events the morning would bring, Harry turned on his side, pulling the covers up to his ear and slept. Harry's dreams were disturbing, and he hadn't had disturbing dreams since leaving school. Maybe it was because his reality was such a nightmare. He was fighting against a smothering blackness. He couldn't breathe. He wanted to raise his wand and cast a light spell. He reached for it, but his hand was moving so very slow. He was shaking now, and he came halfway to see Elon's concerned face. The older boy stopped shaking his shoulders. All right, Harry, Elon said softly. Harry drew his knees up to his chin. Bad dream, he said just softly. Yeah, I figured as much, Elon answered. That's why I had Dobby watch over you. What's a Dobby, Harry asked. Elon snapped his fingers. A little creature with about large bat-like ears and bulging green eyes the size of tennis balls stepped over. He gazed at Harry with an unreasonable expression. The creature's nose was very long and thin. It was wearing an old pillowcase. That's Dobby. He's one of the house elves. I remember that you had sometimes have nightmares, so I told Dobby to watch over you and to wake me if your sleep was troubled. It wouldn't do for you to wake up Father. Doesn't like being woken, Harry said, turning back to Elon. Oh, it's not like that, Elon said airily. He just doesn't know when you're here yet. That's what breakfast is for. Despite himself, Harry chuckled. Elon seemed to have Draco's same sense of not letting things bother him. So can you go back to sleep now, he asked? Harry nodded. Yeah, I'll be fine, he said a bit too quickly. Elon narrowed his gaze. Are you sure? Maybe I should spend the night in here. Harry flushed. I don't want to be any trouble. Nonsense, Elon scoffed. We perfectly used to dealing with ickle firsties. I'm not a firstie, Harry protested. You are until the new firsties arrive, Elon answered flippantly. But since you're being so insistent on being brave, I suppose you can stay by yourself. Harry nodded as Elon stood up and headed for the door. Elon, he asked. Yeah, the blonde young man asked, facing Harry from the doorway. Thanks for looking out for me, Harry said seriously. Thanks for coming to get me. It means a lot. No trouble, Elon replied. Good night. Harry was not long in, falling asleep again, and his last thought before a new dreamer's sleep had claimed him was that his faith in his friends had been justified. They hadn't forgotten him. They had cared enough not to come looking for him when they hadn't gotten any letters. They had cared about enough to set a watch over him in case of bad dreams. Perhaps in Slytherin, you'll make your real friends, he mumbled. Then he was asleep. Okay, so that's chapter 1 of They Shook Hands Year 2. Take care, everybody. Another video for my Storytime channel. Take care, everyone.